How can we apply systems thinking for losing weight and getting in shape? Hi, I'm Mike Hogue of Transformative Adventures, and no, I'm definitely not a YouTube fitness celebrity, and I have no desire to be one. But I am very interested in the things that we can do that will, areas where we can put in a small amount of effort and get a huge positive change to our lives and those around us. And having good enough health is one of those areas. And people are always asking if permaculture design can be applied to things other than the landscape. What are some examples of that? So this is a great example of how we can apply design thinking to meeting a goal other than a landscape goal. And to show you the real power behind that. And you may be asking, who is this schmuck anyway to be talking about fitness? Does this stuff actually work? And what I can say is that when I began my full-time permaculture career and was really starting to take this thing and the lifestyle seriously, I had been teaching in universities for about a decade or more, and had started to really get my middle-age slump, and my waist size was getting a little bit tight even in 36 or 38 inch jeans. And about 3 years into that, I was back down to 30 to 32 inch jeans or waist, and actually my weight went up by a good 5 or 6 pounds. So what I can say is that made a huge difference in things like going up flights of stairs without getting tired, which was something that I was starting to get to, and the kind of physical activity that was required of me in my physically active job. I began to really enjoy that kind of thing. So let's talk about how that happened without me ever really thinking about like losing weight or really working on making those physical changes. Here we have Danella Meadows' leverage points for changing complex systems. Now remember, our bodies, our lives are complex systems, like our soil, like our communities, like our civilization. These complex systems don't always act the way we think they should. So we may do one thing and not get the result we want. So this system is designed to show us where we can put our energy to get the biggest impact for the least amount of effort. As we move to the right on this, we start to get more higher leverage, and things on the left have low leverage. We're going to break this down and talk about why. Okay, Danella Meadows actually gave us 12 places we can intervene in the system. And in my video on systems thinking for farming, gardening, and permaculture, I go into those in more depth. For this, we're going to keep it nice and simple and focus on the 4 types of interactions we can have. These are, starting at the left, brute force methods. This means looking and measuring the numbers, things like calories or our weight, and then trying to change those numbers directly by limiting our calories or lowering our weight. These are often considered low leverage points. They're easy to figure out what to do, but low leverage, cause little change, take a lot of energy. As we move up from that in our leverage, we have behavior change. And when we move up from that, we get systems change. And up at the top, we're going to call that deep change, things that require very little energy and have profound and lasting changes. These are the 4 types of interactions that we can take in any complex system. So let's start by looking at this lower left, these brute force methods. These involve testing numbers and directly making changes to those numbers. So the thing about them is, think about them as easy to reach. They're really easy to understand and take action on. It's really easy to step on a scale, look at your weight, and then try to reduce that weight, right? The thing about it is, it takes a lot of energy to do, and it tends to be a very ineffective way to make change. So these are things like counting calories, counting macros, and then taking efforts to do those. The other thing about them is, because they take a lot of physical energy, and we're brute force changing those things, they're almost always interpreted as violence and stress. There's always a conflict between that piece of cake over there that you want to eat and your weight loss goals. So, we experience that as a form of violence, right? And there are actually a lot of research now that shows that we're limited in the amount of willpower we have. It actually takes real energy to exert that willpower over that piece of cake and not do that. So as we're setting ourselves up to do this kind of work and drain our willpower, so then we have less willpower for other things in our lives. If all of our lives are designed around these brute force methods to get results, then we're always walking around feeling stressed out and having low willpower left over to get anything done. So then we feel guilty about what we haven't accomplished. This is why this dieting and counting calories and macros paradigm in research almost never works. Now, wait a minute here, Mikey Joe. Don't the fitness broskies all say that counting macros is the best way to lose weight? Well, yeah, for the fitness bros, because they have already made higher level changes up at the top of the scale. This is the problem with these brute force methods. We make changes to the small, low effect areas, but we leave all the big systems and behaviors in place that are making us fat asses. If you already have those behaviors and systems and mindsets in place, then things like counting macros can be the best way to dial in and make those small final changes that really make a big difference in the end for those people. But if you're trying to make those small changes without changing the big things, we're just dooming ourselves to failure and guilt. Which is why we want to move up in leverage points to changing our behaviors and changing our systems. The problem with these is not that they're harder to do. They're actually easier to do and take less energy for us and get a bigger effect. The problem is they actually require us to use our noggins and think. And we got to do some planning and design and come up with a solution for it. But when we do, we'll find we have the leverage to make big, lasting changes a lot easier than we thought. So that means looking at things like changing our behaviors that are causing the problems. For example, are we stress eating? That means maybe we figure out a way to change that behavior, like plan healthy snacks at times that we're going to be stressed and do that stress eating. Are we not keeping a fitness plan because we hate the exercise that we're doing? Are we not keeping a fitness plan because we're trying to exercise when we get home from work and we're just burned out on it? Maybe you change your fitness routine so that you're exercising every day before you go to work. Those are making behavior changes. As we do that, we'll notice that a lot of our behaviors come right out of the systems that we use. For example, get off the corporate food system and start growing your own healthy food. Then you'll have healthy snacks around that you really enjoy. Better yet, change your goals. Stop trying to lose weight. This is a very violent goal to begin with. Remember, those brute force methods are violent. We end up having guilt about being fat, being overweight. Give that all up. Instead, just focusing on becoming healthy, something that's truly positive for all of us. Then we can move to deep change. Don't try to get healthier. Try to find ways that you enjoy healthful living, fresh, great food that you enjoy, physical activity that is truly a joy for you. But even that still takes energy. So we can transcend the whole idea of trying to do anything. Isn't it amazing that we have these physical bodies to experience this wonderful life of beautiful food straight from our ecosystems, of healthy nutrition for ourselves, of physical activity that makes us feel alive, gets our blood flowing and our hearts pounding? Isn't it fantastic that we can experience this life of personal growth, including the growth in our abilities to inhabit our bodies, to do work joyfully? The more we can inhabit this worldview, that we're just here living this natural, beautiful human life, the less we'll have to try to do anything. The results we want will emerge naturally from just being.